And we are back now with more Decision 2021 talk, a day after really what was an unprecedented election day in Buffalo.
Yeah, as you're probably aware of by now, Mayor Byron Brown has declared victory. India Walton released a statement that some people were interpreting as a concession. She says it's not. It stopped just short of that. Write-in votes, as you can see, leads the unofficial tally from the County Board of Elections by about 10,000 votes. But those write-ins won't even be counted to see how many are for Brown or for somebody else for about 2 weeks. Some will be for other people, some will be challenged, some may even be added if a voter actually wrote in a name but didn't fill in the bubble.
But it seems likely at this point that Brown will eventually be on top here with a pretty convincing margin of victory over the opponent who beat him in the primary just 4.5 months ago. So what changed? Jeff Kelly from our nonprofit partners at Investigative Post says the vote totals looked a lot different than they did in the primary.
He got over 7,000 votes out of the South District alone. He beat India Walton there by 2-1. That's not a big surprise. More surprising probably is how well he did in the Delaware district, where she beat him handily in the primary. He turned the tables on her on Tuesday. In the primary, India Walton really performed well in the more white sections of the city, the well-to-do sections of the city, excepting the South District. This time, she did really well on the working class and African-American East Side and in the really diverse and working class West Side. Really sort of a changing dynamic.
Another thing to take away from yesterday, turnout. We all expected it to be high, given that we haven't seen a contested mayoral race in a general election in more than a decade. Jeff says that wasn't necessarily the case, at least by comparison.
Most people expected this to be a really high turnout race. These were two dynamic personalities, two competing ideologies. There was national attention, a lot of money. And in the end, about 60,000 voters turned out, a little more than that. That's a lot by Buffalo standards, but it's only 40% of registered voters in the city of Buffalo. The last time there was a heavily contested general election was 2005, when Brown won his first term. And in that election, there were more than 74,000 voters.
So as for the money, Kelly says it'll be another month before we have the final total for how much was spent on this race. It's going to be a lot.
Yeah, well, he says as of Monday, the total was $3.4 million.